All right. All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about shoulder dystocia during labor, okay? So shoulder dystocia is when the main part presenting through the pelvis is the shoulder. Normally what happens is the head will start to come through the pelvis, but the anterior shoulder will become stuck and it'll hit the pubic bone. So the way that we detect shoulder dystocia, we can identify if there's an early risk with Leopold's maneuver if we find that the baby's laying transversely in the abdomen. But the most common way it's found is during the actual pushing process while the baby is coming through. Once the baby's head begins to crown, okay, we'll see what we call the turtling sign, when the baby pulls its head back in and regresses, and that's because its shoulder hits the pelvic bone of the mother, okay? So this is kind of an emergency situation. It's really risky for both the baby and the mother. It's most risky for the baby because there's a higher risk of shoulder fracture, and there can even be nerve damage, brachial plexus damage, or even asphyxia if the baby becomes stuck and the birthing process goes on too long. For the mother, most of the risk comes from possibly bleeding because of lacerations or tearing that could happen during the birth. So the first thing we're going to do if we observe turtling occurring and we suspect that there's shoulder dystocia is we're going to do McRoberts maneuver, okay? McRoberts maneuver, what we're going to do is help the woman pull her legs back towards her head as much as we can to really open up her pelvis, open up the whole area for the baby. And then we're going to push down and apply suprapubic pressure as well. And this is to help push the shoulder down to help the baby kind of readjust so it can go through. If McRoberts, to me McNames, if McRoberts maneuver doesn't work, we might have to do an emergency episiotomy to open up more space for the baby, or even an emergency C-section if nothing else works. And hopefully that we won't have to do that. So that's pretty much all for shoulder dystocia.